I stood there, staring at my reflection in the bathroom mirror, tears streaming down my face. This wasn't just another bad day. This was my breaking point. "I'm disgusted with myself," I whispered, the words barely audible as they escaped my trembling lips. My eyes were puffy from crying, my mind clouded with shame and self-hatred. For years, I had been trapped in a cycle of feeling disappointed every time I looked at my body. That day started like any other. I woke up, scrolled through social media, and saw gorgeous celebrities flaunting their perfect bodies. I dragged myself to work, where I smiled through meetings while feeling completely disconnected from myself. By evening, I was exhausted not just physically, but emotionally. I climbed the stairs to my apartment and had to stop halfway, gasping for air. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it might burst through my chest. When I finally made it inside, I collapsed on my bed, breathing heavily, my body feeling like a prison I couldn't escape. That's when I realized something had to change. Not because I wanted to fit into society's beauty standards, but because I deserved to feel at home in my own skin. I walked to the bathroom and stood before the mirror. "This has to stop," I said to my reflection. "I can't keep hating myself like this." In that moment, I made a decision that would transform my life. I wasn't going to exercise to change my body. I was going to exercise to change my mind. "This isn't about losing weight," I told myself firmly. "This is about gaining mental health." I grabbed a notebook and wrote at the top of the page, "My mental health journey starts now." Below it, I listed what I needed to change. Mental health action plan. 1. Stop looking at my body with disgust. 2. Move my body for endorphins, not for appearance. 3. Speak kindly to myself, even on bad days. 4. Celebrate what my body can do, not how it looks. 5. Remember that my body will change naturally with time, and that's normal. I read these words out loud, feeling something shift inside me. For the first time in years, I wasn't focused on how my body appeared, I was focused on how it felt. The next morning, I woke up earlier than usual. The old me would have immediately checked the scale, but the new me didn't care about that number. Instead, I put on comfortable clothes and went for a walk around my neighborhood. At first, it was difficult. My lungs burned and my legs ached. But with each step, I felt something powerful happening. I was connecting with my body, not fighting against it. "Thank you," I whispered to my legs as they carried me forward. "Thank you," I said to my lungs as they filled with fresh morning air. Day after day, I continued moving my body not to lose weight, but to gain strength, both physically and mentally. Some days were harder than others. There were mornings when I wanted to stay in bed, when the voice of self-doubt crept back in. But I had made a promise to myself, and I was determined to keep it. This wasn't just about exercise, it was about transforming my relationship with myself. Have you ever felt trapped in your own body? Have you ever looked in the mirror and not recognized the person staring back at you? If you have, then you know exactly how I felt that day. But I'm here to tell you that everything can change in an instant, the moment you decide to stop fighting against yourself and start fighting for yourself. 3 months into my journey, something remarkable happened. I was getting ready for bed when I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror. Instead of immediately criticizing my body, I noticed something different. I was smiling. Not because my body had dramatically changed, but because I had. I no longer saw myself as a collection of flaws to be fixed. I saw myself as a whole person, strong, capable, and worthy of love, especially from myself. The physical changes came naturally over time as a side effect of my new lifestyle, but they weren't the goal. The real transformation was happening inside, where no one could see it but me. I thought changing my mindset would be easy once I'd made the decision, but I was wrong. The hardest part of my journey wasn't starting, it was continuing when everything inside me wanted to quit. 2 weeks after my mirror moment, I found myself scrolling through social media, looking at before and after weight loss transformations. Maybe I should try that diet, I thought. Maybe I need those pills they're advertising. The old habits were creeping back in, threatening to derail everything. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind raced with conflicting thoughts. Part of me wanted quick results, the kind you see in those dramatic transformations online. But another part remembered the promise I'd made to myself. This journey wasn't about changing my body. It was about healing my mind. I got out of bed at 2 a.m., turned on my bedside lamp, and wrote in my journal, "I am not going backward. I refuse to chase quick fixes that don't last. My mental health matters more than numbers on a scale." The next morning, I made a decision that changed everything. I deleted all the weight loss accounts I followed. I unfollowed celebrities who promoted crash diets. I cleared my feed of anything that made me feel inadequate or pushed me toward unhealthy behaviors. Instead, I filled my social media with people who celebrated body diversity, mental health advocates, and fitness coaches who focused on strength and joy rather than appearance. This simple act, controlling what I allowed into my mind each day, became my superpower. But the world wasn't making it easy for me. Everywhere I turned, someone was promoting a new weight loss drug, a miracle diet, or some other quick fix. Friends and family noticed my changing body and immediately asked, "What's your secret? What pill are you taking? Which diet are you on?" Their questions stung because they assumed my transformation was about tricks and shortcuts, not about the mental battle I fought every single day. "I'm not on any special diet," I'd tell them. "I'm not taking any pills. I'm working on my mental health, and my body is changing as a result." Most people didn't understand. They wanted the easy answer, the magic solution. They weren't interested in hearing about my daily walks that had become moving meditations, or how I'd learned to cook meals that made me feel energized rather than deprived, or how I'd started strength training not to lose weight, but to feel powerful. One afternoon, after a particularly frustrating conversation with someone who insisted I must be using weight loss medication, I sat down and created my mental health defense plan. Mental health defense plan. I will not explain my journey to those who are only looking for shortcuts. I will respond to questions about my secret with, "I'm prioritizing my mental health." I will remember that others' opinions about my body are not my concern. I will celebrate non-scale victories every day: more energy, better sleep, stronger mind. I will not allow anyone to reduce my complex journey to before and after photos. This plan became my shield against the constant pressure to conform to society's idea of how weight loss should happen. As weeks passed, I noticed something extraordinary happening. When I looked in the mirror, I no longer immediately focused on problem areas I wanted to fix. Instead, I saw a person who was growing stronger, not just physically, but mentally. My workouts weren't punishments anymore. They were celebrations of what my body could do. I stopped saying, "I have to exercise," and started saying, "I get to move my body today." That simple change in language transformed how I approached physical activity. Every morning, I'd wake up and ask myself, "How can I make my mind stronger today?" Sometimes the answer was a challenging workout. Other times it was gentle yoga or a long walk. And sometimes it was giving my body the rest it deserved. Have you ever noticed how our culture glorifies pushing through pain, ignoring our body's signals, and exercising until exhaustion? I decided to reject that approach entirely. I started listening to my body with the same attention I'd give to a close friend sharing their deepest needs. About 4 months into my journey, I hit a plateau. The physical changes slowed down, and for a moment, the old panic set in. "It's not working anymore," that critical inner voice whispered. "You need to try something more extreme." But I was stronger now. I recognized that voice for what it was: fear disguised as motivation. Instead of giving in, I wrote a letter to my body. "Dear body, I'm sorry for all the years I spent trying to change you, for all the cruel words I said to you, for all the times I ignored your needs because I was too focused on how you looked. You have carried me through life, allowed me to experience the world, and kept fighting even when I was at war with you. From now on, I promise to be your ally, not your enemy. We're in this together, and I'm grateful for you exactly as you are." Reading that letter aloud to myself, tears streaming down my face, I felt decades of shame begin to lift. This was the real transformation, not the number on the scale or the size of my clothes, but this profound shift in how I related to my own body. When I posted a photo of myself online a few weeks later, showing my back in a beautiful pink lace lingerie set from my line, I wasn't seeking validation. I wasn't trying to prove anything to anyone. I was simply celebrating my journey, the mental strength I'd gained, the confidence I'd built, the relationship I'd healed. The comments came flooding in. "What's your secret? How much weight have you lost? What diet are you on?" But this time, they didn't bother me. I knew something they didn't. There is no secret, no magic pill, no miracle diet. There is only the courageous decision to stop fighting against your body and start working with it to make mental health the goal, not a particular size or shape. And that realization brings me to the next chapter of my story, where I'll share how reaching my first goal became not an endpoint, but the beginning of setting new challenges that had nothing to do with my appearance and everything to do with becoming the strongest version of myself inside and out. Are you ready to make the same mental shift I did? To stop focusing on how your body looks and start celebrating what it can do? Because once you make that shift, everything changes, not just your relationship with exercise and food, but your relationship with yourself. I stared at the number on my scale, tears welling up in my eyes. But these weren't tears of frustration or shame like before. They were tears of accomplishment, of validation, of pure joy. "I did it," I whispered, my voice trembling with emotion. I actually did it. The number staring back at me was one I hadn't seen since 2014. It wasn't just a number, it was proof that my commitment to myself was working. But more importantly, it was evidence that when you change your mindset, your body follows. Let me be clear, reaching this weight wasn't my primary goal. It was a natural result of the mental health journey I started months ago. The real victory was that I had fallen in love with taking care of myself. Have you ever achieved something you once thought impossible? That feeling of proving your own doubts wrong is the most powerful sensation in the world. I remember exactly how I got here. After shifting my mindset and pushing through the struggles I shared in the previous chapters, I developed a routine that nourished both my body and mind. Here's what that looked like. My daily wellness practice. Wake up and speak 3 affirmations to myself. Move my body in ways that feel good, not punishing. Fuel myself with foods that energize me. Take moments throughout the day to check in with my mental state. Track my progress through how I feel, not just how I look. The most important part of my journey wasn't the destination, it was learning to celebrate every milestone along the way. I remember the first time I completed a workout without stopping to catch my breath. Instead of thinking, "I should have been able to do this all along," I said, "Look how strong my body is becoming." I took a sweaty selfie, not to show others, but to remind myself of that feeling of accomplishment. Then came the day when I put on my favorite pink lace lingerie, set, the one I hadn't worn in years because I didn't feel worthy of looking sexy. I stood in front of my bathroom mirror, struck by how different this moment felt from that breaking point months ago. I looked at myself and thought, "You are beautiful. Not because your body has changed, but because you finally see your own worth." I took photos that day, capturing not just my body, but the confidence radiating from my eyes. When I posted those photos online, I wasn't seeking validation, I was sharing my journey of self-acceptance. Of course, the comments came flooding in. Some people accused me of using drugs or taking shortcuts. Others demanded to know exactly what I did to lose weight, as if there was some magic formula I was hiding. "No Ozempic here," I wrote in response. "Just a woman who decided her mental health was worth fighting for." The truth is simpler yet harder than any quick fix. I changed my relationship with myself. I stopped exercising because I hated my body and started moving because I loved it. One morning, I woke up earlier than usual. The house was quiet, my phone still turned off. I slipped out of bed, put on my workout clothes, and headed to my home gym. As I moved through my routine, I realized something profound. I wasn't counting the minutes until it was over. I was genuinely enjoying the feeling of my muscles working, my lungs expanding, my heart pumping. That's when I knew I had truly transformed. Exercise was no longer punishment, it was celebration. Food was no longer the enemy, it was fuel. My body was no longer something to criticize, it was something to appreciate. When I reached my initial weight goal, I didn't stop. Why would I? This journey wasn't about reaching a destination, it was about continuing to grow, to challenge myself, to discover what else I was capable of. So I set new goals. Not just weight goals, but strength goals, mental health goals, career goals. Because once you prove to yourself that you can transform one area of your life, you realize you can transform all of them. Have you set limits on yourself based on past failures? Have you told yourself that certain achievements aren't possible for you? I'm here to tell you that those limits exist only in your mind. The day I reached my weight goal, I posted online. I did it. Today, when I stepped on my scale, I reached my weight release goal. I haven't seen this number since 2014. Let this be a reminder you can do anything you put your mind to. Time for new goals. Those words weren't just for my followers, they were for me. A reminder that this journey doesn't end with one achievement. It continues with new challenges, new milestones, new opportunities to prove to yourself what you're made of. As I stood in my bathroom, taking those lingerie selfies that would later go viral, I wasn't just showing off my yitty line or my physical transformation. I was showing the world what confidence looks like, what self-love looks like, what happens when you decide that you are worth fighting for. And in the next chapter, I'll share how I'm taking this new mindset beyond physical transformation, how I'm using the confidence I've gained to set and achieve bigger dreams than I ever thought possible. Because this isn't just about weight or appearance. This is about reclaiming your power in every area of your life. Are you ready to celebrate your own milestones? Remember, the only person you need to impress is yourself. And trust me, you're stronger than you think. The moment I stepped on the scale that January morning, I felt like I was floating. I stared at the number in disbelief. I did it, I whispered to myself, my voice trembling with emotion. I actually did it. This wasn't just any number, it was a number I hadn't seen since 2014. For nearly a decade, that figure had existed only in my memory, a reminder of a different version of myself. Now, here it was again, real and tangible, proof of my journey. But what happened next surprised even me. I didn't scream with joy. I didn't rush to post about it online. Instead, I sat down on the edge of my bathtub and asked myself a question that would change everything. What now? For so long, reaching this weight had been my goal. I had visualized this moment, dreamed about it, worked toward it every single day. Now that I was here, I realized something profound. This wasn't the end of my journey. It was just another milestone on a much longer path. Have you ever achieved something you've been working toward for years, only to wonder, is this it? That's exactly how I felt. Not disappointed, but suddenly aware that the journey doesn't end with reaching your goal. The journey continues when you set a new one. That morning, I opened my journal and wrote, "Today I reached my weight release goal. A goal I set for myself years ago. But this isn't the finish line, it's a new starting point." I realized that my transformation wasn't just about the number on the scale. It was about who I had become in the process, stronger, more disciplined, more loving toward myself. And that person, this new version of me, needed new horizons to explore. So I made a list of new goals. My new horizon goals. Maintain my mental health practices as my top priority. Challenge myself with new forms of movement that bring me joy. Build a community around body positivity and mental wellness. share my journey authentically to inspire others, celebrate my body through fashion that makes me feel powerful. This last point was especially important to me. For years, I had hidden my body, waiting until I looked better to express myself through fashion. No more. I decided to celebrate my body at every stage of my journey. The next day, I went shopping for lingerie not for anyone else, but for me. I wanted to feel beautiful, confident, and sexy in my own skin. I tried on a hot pink lace set with intricate floral designs and stood in front of the fitting room mirror. In the past, I would have focused on every perceived flaw, every area I wanted to fix. But now, I saw something different. I saw a woman who had fought hard for her mental health, who had transformed from the inside out, who deserved to feel good in her body exactly as it was. "You look good as hell," I told my reflection, and for the first time in my life, I truly believed it. When I got home, I did something I never would have done before. I took photos of myself in that lingerie. Not with filters, not with perfect lighting, just me, raw and real. My hands trembled as I looked at the images. There was a time when seeing photos of myself would trigger a spiral of self-hatred. Now I felt only pride. Should I post these? I wondered. Part of me was scared. I knew what would happen. People would have opinions. Some would celebrate me, others would criticize. Some would speculate about how I lost weight, making up stories about drugs or extreme diets. But then I remembered something important. My journey wasn't about pleasing others. It was about being true to myself. So I posted the photos with a simple caption, "Smoothing laces back." Within minutes, comments flooded in. As expected, they ranged from supportive to critical. Some people praised my confidence, while others accused me of using medications like Ozempic to lose weight. In the past, those negative comments would have crushed me. But now, I felt a new kind of strength. I didn't need to defend myself. I didn't need everyone to understand my journey. The only person who needed to know the truth was me. And the truth was simple. I had transformed my relationship with my body by prioritizing my mental health. The physical changes were just a side effect of that deeper work. That night, as I scrolled through the comments, I decided to address the rumors directly. Not because I owed anyone an explanation, but because I wanted others to know they could transform their lives too. No quick fixes, no miracle drugs, just consistent effort and self-compassion. I did not use Ozempic or any other medication to lose weight, I wrote. My journey has been about mental health first, with physical changes coming naturally over time. After posting that statement, I put my phone down and went to my bedroom. I opened my closet and looked at all the clothes I had been saving for someday outfits I loved but didn't feel confident enough to wear. "No more somedays," I said aloud. "Today is the day." I tried on a dress I had bought months ago but never worn. It fit differently now, but that wasn't what mattered. What mattered was how I felt in it, powerful, beautiful, and most importantly, at home in my own skin. Looking back at my journey, I realized the most valuable thing I had gained wasn't a smaller body, it was a bigger life. A life where I didn't postpone joy until I reached a certain weight. A life where I celebrated myself every step of the way. This is the message I want to share with you. Don't wait to love yourself. Don't put your life on hold until you reach some arbitrary goal. Start living fully, loving completely, and celebrating yourself exactly as you are right now. And when you do reach your goals, when you step on that scale and see the number you've been working toward, or when you achieve whatever milestone matters to you, remember that it's not the end. It's just the beginning of a new chapter. That's the beautiful thing about transformation. It never truly ends. There are always new horizons to explore, new goals to set, new versions of yourself waiting to emerge. So ask yourself, what's your next horizon? What goal will you set now? How will you continue to grow, to transform, to become even more fully yourself? Because this isn't just my story of transformation. This can be your story too. And I promise you, if I could do it, if I could transform my relationship with my body and reach goals I once thought impossible, then you can too. Your new horizon is waiting. All you have to do is take the first step.